Welcome to Arcane Answers. I'm your host, Lair, and joined with me today are my co-hosts, Amanda and Sarah. This week we are looking at theories and mysteries surrounding unidentified flying objects, or as the Pentagon now calls them, unidentified flying aerial phenomenon. I put in flying. That's not in there. It's UAP. and so we're going to look from declassified government reports to firsthand accounts, and we'll explore evidence, separate fact from fiction, and ask the big question, are we alone? How are you guys doing tonight? Or today, actually.
Well.
This is my first daytime episode of a podcast ever.
At 9 a.m.
Yeah.
our time.
It's
Thanks for waiting until 10.
It's very early for me.
It was for us too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure in the future we can probably pick a better time, or we can, I need to perk up with some coffee or something. But, so where are your guys' backgrounds in UFO interests? How long have you guys been seeking that knowledge?
So I listen to a lot of true crime and paranormal podcasts, I would say for like the last 10 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of where my interest comes.
That is Sarah, and that's the sound of her voice.
I have a slightly nerdier origin story. So my parents used to get a lot of books because my dad would help elderly people. And we ended up, when I was probably 8 or 9 years old, with a couple of books on astral projection and also UFO phenomena.
Was it the Time Life series?
Potentially, I don't know. I don't remember the name of it. I just remember spending like a large quantity of time for a couple weeks trying to astral project. And it turns out I don't have any sort of ability in that way. But
we grew up in the same house. How did I not know those books
because
existed?
I'm 7 years older than you.
I don't care. Where are they? They're still there.
They might not be.
They're still there. Dad doesn't get rid of books.
I have a set of them if you want to take a look. Come up.
Yeah, you can. You should check one of the outbuildings.
Okay.
Because all of those things probably in the bus or something like that.
Probably.
But
next time you guys come
anyway,
up, bring Sarah with you.
What's that?
I said next time you come up, bring Sarah with you.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, and then from that I had this whole like just interest in paranormal stuff, in UFOs, also the weird like Dianetic. We ended up with like Scientology things, which I didn't even know what the heck that was. I'm just like, oh, it's got a cool cover with Power Guy on the front. I want to read that too. I didn't finish it, but so yeah, just early childhood reading. Plus, as you know, living in Washington, we, growing up in Washington, we lived in kind of a UFO hotspot.
Yeah, it's a like cryptid hotspot too. I mean, Bigfoot, all sorts of things like Mel's Hole. I don't know if you're familiar.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, there's just all sorts of phenomena happening in Washington State, and anywhere I move, apparently.
Yeah. So, the earliest acknowledged study into UFOs came from a incident that happened at Mount Rainier with 9 cylindrical objects, and that's what kicked off Planet Saucer in 1946.
Wow, that's crazy. So it was a year prior to the Roswell incident.
Yes. But that was the first acknowledged, like, not necessarily at the time acknowledged, but when you look at the recent declassification of documents, that's like the first one that the government acknowledged in those declassified documents was Planet Saucer.
Well, we know that those are often faked, like the 1990s release of what happened at Roswell. We know the truth happened there. That was aliens. That wasn't a spy balloon. I don't buy it.
The weather balloon with the dummies on it.
That doesn't make any
which makes
sense.
no sense. Like, oh no, there was just dummies on that weather balloon, and those alien bodies were just dummies we put on a weather balloon that came down.
Yeah, so that takes us to our first case about when people really piqued their interest after World War II. Not the first case, apparently. That was in Washington, but this is the first case of real acclaim, right? The Roswell incident. Now, that's kind of what got me interested in UFOs. Was my dad was way into them, and we went to Roswell, New Mexico, and we went out to the crash site, and it's dirt. There's nothing there. It's I think there was an old truck with a sign on it that said, "Hey, the crash site this way," and then you drive out there, and you're like, I, I don't know what I was expecting. I mean, maybe some spectacle or something, but then we came back into town, and the town is nuts. They have a UFO museum and a flying saucer shaped McDonald's. It's pretty cool.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
We passed the Area 51 concession. It wasn't Roswell. When we drove to Oklahoma, there's this insane like tourist stop on Route 66, which is Area 51.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's was it actually near Groom Lake?
Yes. And it's like this green building. It's just got massive quantities of kitsch inside, but
It was lots of fun.
That does sound like a
we
lot
wanted
of fun.
to.
Yeah.
We detoured. Kenny had to double back to find us because we were like, we're getting off.
We're like following Kenny. All of a sudden, we see this building. It was like, he's like, where the heck did you guys go? We're like, we had to stop at this tourist trap.
See, I love tourist traps, but that's a whole other show. We'll talk about that. But yeah, so like, did you know the CIA did not acknowledge the existence of that place until 2013?
No, I didn't know that. It was such common knowledge. I just assumed.
Right. Everybody talked about it, but they're like, no, there's not a thing. It's not a thing.
You guys are making it up.
Yep. And then in 2005, someone was like, I'm going to do a Freedom of Information Act. And they did, and they didn't get response until 2013 when they're like, okay, yeah, it exists, and there's aliens. They didn't say that part, but they, it's implied.
Wait, did you say they didn't acknowledge it until 2023 or 2013?
2013. So
I misheard you the first time. I was like, wow, they were.
Well, it's still really late because, like, I mean, in the 90s, we were all talking about it. So, yeah. But, so yeah, Groom Lake aside, the Roswell, New Mexico incident really had a lot going on for it. Like, so initially they came out and they were like, yeah, man, I don't know what this is. This is a UFO. And then that was the military even said that. And then they had to do a retraction. Like this general came in. I think it was a general. Anyway, we'll call him a general. And he comes in and he's like, hey, no, this was a weather balloon. You know it's a weather balloon. I know it's a weather balloon. Everybody knows it's a weather balloon. And so he took control of it and they retracted their statement. And they're like, we never said that. So
it's no longer unidentified. It's just a weather balloon.
Exactly.
You identified it as a weather balloon. That's all.
In the 70s, the Weekly World News did a interview with one of the guys. And now, I know, but he said some stuff in that interview that was like, yeah, it wasn't a weather balloon. And he was one of the original guys that dealt with it. And he said he can't talk too much about it. But that is, I mean, to me, that's like heavy evidence, right? If an eyewitness, not even an eyewitness, but like a experiencer of it is like, hey, this was no weather balloon. Like that gives me enough to go off of, even if the guys may be looking for limelight. I think that's very true.
Well, the only one that would pick him up was the Weekly World News. So
yeah, exactly. Who's going to believe in that nonsense, right? But it gets like the conspiracy theories, I think, that drive this are my favorite of all conspiracy theories, alien conspiracy theories, like and maybe brain control, like the MK Ultra stuff. That one's really fascinating, and we'll do a whole show on that at some time. But what you guys did some research into declassification, right? Just recently. So what'd you guys experience?
So there was quite a few different projects that they had from like late 1946, early 1947 to up until recently. But the first one was that Project Saucer, where there was a private pilot, Kenneth Arnold, who saw the 9 circular objects, and that's actually where the term flying saucer emerged from.
Really? From the Washington one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. According to the documents that we found.
Yeah.
And that one was kind of more enthusiastic about the idea of, like, is there life out there? But then they followed it up with Project Grudge, which
Part
got
one.
with part one. There was two grudges. And at that point they got rid of anyone who was too enthusiastic about the idea of positive findings in these. And it's all downhill from there. So like they run these year-long studies just back to back to back. Are there aliens? No, there's not aliens. That's, at one point they had like 12,000 different reports of UFOs or UAPs that they went through, and were still unable to identify 701 of them. But they were like, still, it's probably not. I mean, they're not national security threats, so we really shouldn't worry about them.
Well,
and so,
when did that come out?
Yeah.
Project Blue Book.
Project Blue
From
Book.
1952 to 1969.
Yeah, and then you kind of get a gap, and then in 77, Carter revisits it. He's like, hey, are there aliens, NASA? NASA's like, no, it's fine. They're not national security threats if they exist. We don't know anything about them. And then you get, like, another kind of, like, blank period, and then you have the Roswell findings during Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had a couple others. The congressional hearing that they had, I think it was last year.
Yes.
Was really interesting because that went over like concerns of commercial and military pilots with these UAPs and whether they were getting briefed on them or not. So I guess the military, they're like, yeah, so, watch out for flying objects that you can't explain. And commercial pilots, they can't even report if they see them through channels. A, because one doesn't exist, but B, they risk losing their pilot's license on their next physical due to mental capacity issues.
Oh my God. But they exist. So,
what's that?
It exists. It's been admitted that they exist, that there's, UAPs out there. And so if you say, I saw UAP, you can lose your license.
Yeah, like, they'll just be like, this guy's batshit crazy. He should not be flying, a couple hundred people on a plane.
Yeah.
And so there's, whistleblowers going on, but it's all being reported through these back channels because there's just no like destigmatized way of reporting them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was interesting. I feel like some of the congressional hearings were kind of like softballing it in to get people prepared for more transparency. But that same congressional hearing brought up the Tic Tac incident off the coast of San Diego. So, do you wanna go into that one?
Me? No, I want you guys to go off on it. If you did research into the Tic Tac. I mean, I didn't know that you were talking about how the shape changed. Is that right?
No, so there's multiple reports. So on this 3-panel, right? So it was Graves, Grush, and Fravor were the panelists at this congressional hearing. And so the fellow Graves, who was talking about the commercial pilot issue, so his experience was that they were cubes inside transparent spheres.
Okay.
Which is a really uncommon shape reported in UFO findings. Like, that's kind of Borgish, if you ask me. Like, these cubes
in spheres. Yeah.
And so that was common for his reports, but for the Tic Tac incident, it was the long white cylindrical object that was going something like 60 miles a minute, or 60 miles a second. And just like mind-boggling speeds that it appeared,
and then would
like
turn, right? It could.
Oh yeah, its maneuverability was like nothing that we understand capable, with physics.
Right. And we have video of this phenomenon as well through the fighter jets, and like other countries have admitted, like Chile, France, Uruguay, and some others they're like, yeah, we're doing research into UAPs. Like, they exist. We're looking into it. And that happened right before our disclosure happened. And they were like, hey, yeah, let's talk some more about this. And I think we've had a couple different disclosure briefings on this. And the most recent one, you said had Tom DeLonge in it. Is that right?
No, no. So, apparently, so during this congressional hearing, the former commander, Fravor,
Uh-huh.
name drops Tom DeLonge with the Star Academy, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
to the
So
stars.
the director of ATIP, gentleman named Louis Lizondo or something along
Yep.
those lines,
Okay.
he apparently left and teamed up with Tom DeLonge in his quest for answers for aliens or something. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
the To the
yeah.
Stars. And I think that is one of the most wonderful things to have happened. That like this guy who's like, yeah, no, some of my songs are even about aliens. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Well, and I didn't know that bit of trivia. I mean, I'm not a Blink 182 fan
I'm
anyway,
not really
but
either.
so Sarah's like, of Blink 182? I'm like,
Are you
I was
sure?
like, what are you talking about? So then we go down another slight rabbit hole
Yeah.
of celebrities involved with like military
who-
folks trying to.
Who else did you find
expose
that was
aliens.
out there with UFO interests? Do you remember any
No.
names?
You looked into Elvis and
So, well, that's because Larry's like, look up Elvis. And
And Jackie Gleason.
Jackie
Did you look
Gleason.
into Jackie Gleason?
I did, yeah. So evidently Nixon's like, hey, come check out these aliens.
Yes!
And then he tells his wife about it. But he's like tight-lipped, like doesn't want to talk about it at all. They get divorced. She spills the beans.
Yeah.
He's like, no.
He even built his house in the shape of a UFO. He was nuts. I love Jackie Gleason for many reasons, but like his like later life when he's like, yeah, no, Nixon came in a rainy night and said, hey, you want to go see a dead body? Kind of like, I like to think if they had this whole like Stand By Me travel log, you know, just
Yep.
Nixon and Jackie
wanna go
Gleason
see a
on the
dead
road
body?
trip, a buddy movie.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I'm way into that. Elvis was just a little bit different, you know, not as fun, but like that dude was into a lot of weird stuff.
They did a lot of drugs, so
Yeah, that's true. Enough to kill you on the toilet, apparently. So
yeah.
but yeah, bringing us back around. This is only an 18-minute show so far. I think I might be running out a little bit because, like, the other stuff I do have to talk about is kind of like, well, SETI, and that gets a little more technical, like with the Drake equation and the Fermi paradox, right? And the Drake equation, like, there's a lot of like people are like, nah, man, you don't even know how a star forms, so how can you base your equation off of this for, you know, how likely there is life outside, you know, of our own galaxy. But
Yeah.
I like to think that like that's a pretty good start though.
Sorry.
It's okay. We can take a pause right there if you guys need to.
Come here. Come show him. Come up on this side. We're into it.
Okay. I might leave this in the show. We have a great visitor. I would say it was a gray alien, but it's definitely a green alien.
Didn't we get that at the Area 51 spot?
No, I like.
Oh. Yeah. So he's been planning this little pop in with the alien since we were talking about this yesterday. So
I think it's great. Yeah, I might have to put that on the cover.
we took a pause so that Oliver could bring in the visitor.
Heck yeah.
Did you guys watch any of those movies like the Communion or Fire in the Sky?
I don't think so.
Fire in the Sky, I think I may have watched. So I'm a little less into like alien movies.
Mm-hmm.
If this makes so, especially horror alien movies, because I have a weak constitution and will have nightmares about it 2 weeks later when I think it's over.
Oh, you would totally not like Fire in the Sky. There is like a lot of people are like, this movie ruined my childhood because there's this scene where he's covered in like this sack of flesh kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Amanda, you would not like this at all.
Oh, I gotta watch it now.
So I went to a sleepover when about the same time, about 10, 11, and it was somebody's birthday party, and we watched Aliens, like Alien 2 Aliens, and I was like, oh, cool, we're big kids, we watched this cool movie, and then about a week later, I used to be a almost lucid dreamer, and I kept having like what felt like waking dreams of me just sitting on my bed in my room in the dark and there being aliens in the corner.
Wow, in the corner.
And
that's a standard night paralysis kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah. I used to not have scary, like sometimes it wasn't even scary. I'd have this like recurring issue where I'd be sitting on my bed, but I'd be talking to people I knew sometimes. Like they'd just be hanging out in the corner. Well, then it turned into aliens and that was not good. I didn't like that. So I don't really watch scary movies just because of that problem.
I understand that. I don't really quite have the same thing, but my son, my eldest son, he had night paralysis once, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you are so lucky! Tell me everything about it. I love this because you got to experience one of the rare things in life that like is so fascinating. That like your body's like, you're going to be stuck here and witness weird shit." And that is just real to you at this moment. And I love that, personally.
I think there might be a slight difference, too, between, like, more lucid dreaming and sleep paralysis. Because what I consider sleep paralysis is the kind where you wake up, you can't move, it feels like something's on your chest.
Yeah.
And you're just staring wildly at the ceiling until your body comes back online.
Or you see something in the corner. That's a very common occurrence.
Yeah, but that's not usually that scary.
No, that's not.
Not for me, at least. It's for aliens.
Oh,
like that.
I know, for the folks listening to this, all 21 of you on YouTube and like 141 on Facebook. That's how many viewers we have. Not very many at all. But there is an alien visiting us, and it is very cute and very fun.
We'll send you a picture of it so you can post it.
Well, I think...
Oh, he's coming back.
He's coming back here.
No.
I'll take a screenshot right here.
Oh, no. He's defying gravity.
Oh, no. I didn't get it in time. All right. So, all that being said, I do want to address the format change just briefly here, and I might put this at the beginning, or I might cut this all together. But it is important to acknowledge that this was once a live stream that tried to take live calls, and now we are just a podcast with two new co-hosts. So, actually, I don't think I'm even going to. I think we're just going to move into it. Yep, I'm cutting that. And cut. There we go. All right. So
you can still take the the call-ins.
Oh, I plan to. So, like, let's round out to the end of the show, because we're going to keep it towards a half an hour. I'd prefer an hour format, but I think we need to work out some kinks. But do you guys want to keep doing this? Yeah. Okay. Cool. But so I want to announce a contest for people who call in and leave a message. At the end of the message, if you leave a pause and then put in your address, I will send you randomly, because I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 patches of the Cryptozoological Tracking Society, from the Koopa to the Mothman, and I will send these patches out to people who leave us messages.
Your mic cut out.
Oh, we lost you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there you are.
Okay, I'm back?
Yes.
Okay. So I will send you these patches if you leave a message at I forgot my number. Oh no, I usually look at it every time and I say the number. It is 207. Damn it, here's another flag on my chart. I have to find it. Hang on. There we are. And you can give us a call at 207-591-4443. Again, that's 207-591-4443. Leave a message about the week's topic. Next week's topic is going to be cryptids, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on out there in the world that we co-inhabit. That's right. Cryptids. And I believe, man, did I take you to the Cryptozoological Museum?
In Portland, yeah.
Yeah, in Portland, Maine. That place is crazy. It's a closet full of fun stuff.
It is, yeah, it was
Yeah.
really fun. I like that the only point of photography is in front of the Sasquatch.
Yeah, that's right. I have those photos, and maybe we'll put them into the show notes next week. But
I was all disheveled. I'd been on a train for 3 days.
nah, it's
and a
perfect.
bus.
It is perfect.
Yeah. And then our alien friend in the background. But I'm going to wrap this up. We'll do a quick edit on it. It probably is only like a 15-minute episode this week. But it is to get us our foot into the new format, introduce our new co-hosts, and fascinating topics. Next week, if you want to even call in and leave a note about UFOs, you can do that, and we'll use it on a future podcast because this is not the only time we're going to be visiting this subject. But anyway, we'll see you next week.